Every paw has a story, some filled with love, some with pain, but all of them deserve hope. Welcome to Tales of Hope, voices for the voiceless, hope for every paw. Here, we speak for those who can't, and together, we create hope, one paw at a time.
We have a very wonderful guest today who is the founder of a NGO called Stray Animal Welfare Organization, which he runs in Pune, Talegaon. And his name is Sarang Rajwade. He actually started, who is an avid animal lover. And he started all this in 2018. And the NGO was formally got the government approval in 2021. Sarang, welcome on the podcast. I am so glad that you could spare your time to be with us, and we can talk about the animal welfare and all the good work that you keep doing.
Yeah, thanks, Anil. Thanks for getting this lined up. It's really important topic, which most of them are not aware. There are many NGOs, organizations who work for human welfare, but there are handful of people who are actually concerned about animal welfare. So yes, this will be definitely a good, interesting session.
Yeah, I am so glad. I think the reason we all resonate is because we all have a common goal is to give a voice to the voiceless. All these
Yeah,
lovely
true.
kids that, people normally treat them so bad. So I guess it is something that
Yeah,
it's our way of giving back to them, I guess.
correct,
Sarang, now
correct,
since we
correct.
have you on our podcast, can you introduce yourself about the role and the NGO, the SAWO that you are running? How did this all come into place?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks. So, hi everyone. This is Sarang Rajwade. I am the founder and currently the president of SAWO, which stands for Stray Animal Welfare Organization. So this is something which is very close to my heart. Running a shelter or a rescue home, which has been one of my childhood dreams. That there needs I should have something this kind of a setup running, wherein I can foster or treat pets, or rather who we call now as community pets, or some people term them as strays, or in other words, I prefer also referring them as indies, because the entire logic behind setting up this organization is to fight for the rights of these indies who are always neglected by the society and community. So this has been a hereditary liking that has flown right from my grandfather to my father, and then it came down to me. The only difference is my grandfather and father have been huge animal lovers, but very restricted kind of nature of activities they used to perform. But I went a lot of extra miles, I would say, and thought of having a organized channel through which this work can be done far more better. So everything started back in 2018, as Anil you just mentioned. So that was the period when the entire world was going through the COVID phases, wherein the lockdowns were there, and that got us. I would say that was one of the best positive outcomes of COVID outbreak. At least people started recognizing, yes, there are also some souls who have to be considered, which are our community pets. So that all started right from stepping out, feeding, I would say, average 50 community dogs in my vicinity. So I used to step out twice a day, following all the COVID protocols, getting the necessary government or the local authorities approvals, pre-approvals. So all that started from feeding the strays, then observing or coming across the different challenges or the diseases they carry, or illness, or it can be infections that they carry on. And then one fine day, while I was out on my feeding drive, I came across a spot wherein somebody had put out some chicken, for feeding some puppies, and that is how I came across and met Nilesh Khandagre, who is one of the animal rescuers who stays in Talegaon only. And then we went, like when we actually met in person, we went quite a long back and then found out, oh, we actually knew each other, but when I was too small. When I was probably in school days, I had actually met him. So then we sat along, decided, okay, you and me both have similar interests, so why not, instead of doing it individually, let's come together, join hands forces, and make something good out of it. And that is how SAWO was born. So on 18th of August 2021, the first step I did was is to get the NGO registered with Charity Commissioner Pune. Having a legal status established was key, because there are many people who have been working for animal, like volunteers or animal activists are there, but they have been opposed by the community just because you are individuals, you are not supposed to do it. And then, that goes into a very different kind of arguments and things like that. So after getting the NGO registered, the next step was, now where do we start it? So we started looking out for some places, and fortunately, we found out one dog breeder who has had stopped breeding, which, by the way, is something I'm completely against now, the breeds and the breeding culture. So his shade was completely vacant for a couple of years. So then we decided, okay, let's rent it out. So he had 20 cages set up, designed in a way which is obviously used for mating or breeding business. So then we had couple of modifications that had to be made. Then finally on 2nd of October 2021, we stepped in, or we started the center in Paranwadi, Somatni, which is near to Talegaon. So we ran the center there for 2 years, and then again, as we kept on growing day by day, the number of cases we started receiving was increasing, and we were running out of space. So then we again started exploring some new places, and finally we found a place in Talegaon, which is heart of the city, I would call it, and it's almost twice the size of the center we actually had in the first place. So now we are into a residential area wherein it has its own advantages as well as disadvantages. So currently we are just tackling it day in day out, and just trying to see what best we can do for all these community pets.
I think I have seen your. I have personally had an experience of your
You,
vicinity,
yeah,
since I had a couple of my
yeah,
community
right.
pets at your place for the
Yep.
sterilization. So I seen and I see the setup, and I was really in love with the the setup that you've been able to achieve.
Thank you.
Sarang, coming to my next question would be, can you just give us a brief outline of the key programs that SAWO is running?
Yeah. So according to me, the core issue at hand, which can address every underlying issues or incidents we see, is sterilization,
Right.
getting the population under control, and that is key to everything. So if you have less puppies and kittens born, or automatically their accident, their adoptions, their infections and everything is also getting reduced. Many people out here are dedicated for looking homes, permanent homes for these pets who have been abandoned, or the indies, the strays. I feel, even though that is a good point, adoption should be there, but I feel people need to change their entire focus and focus more onto the sterilization rather than the adoption, because it after one point of time it turns out to be just waste of time for everyone, the pet himself or herself. With just adoptions, you're neither helping the pet nor the community. Focus should be changed, control the production of or the birth of these indies, and then everything can be addressed. So sterilization program is one of our key initiatives that we run. So as a matter of fact, today itself we had our next sterilization drive, and we completed 1,213 sterilizations so far.
Wow.
We started from 29th January 2022, and every week, every Sunday, we have a sterilization drive. Initially, we started with less number of pets, but on an average, now we have uh, rather more cats than dogs these days, which is a good positive trend shift in trend that we are observing. So approx 15 to 20 dogs and then 8 to 10 cats is what average we have been operating these days. Along with sterilization, we also uh, give a win-win situation to the reporters or volunteers. Usually, people approach us saying that there are kittens or there are puppies, somebody has abandoned them, or the mother has given birth. Now, you just go ahead and take them in. So we give them a counter offer. You first get the mother sterilized. Day 5, since Anil, you're already aware how our post-op pattern works. So day 5, we ask the individual to come and pick up the mother, and while coming to pick up the mother, get all the puppies and kittens. Then we admit it. We start off with the deworming. If it's a kitten, tricat vaccination. If it's a dog, a puppy, 9-in-1 vaccination that is done by us on our own.
Yes.
Then we put them up for adoptions. If they do not get adopted, they continue to stay at the center for until they are 6 months old. As per Animal Welfare Board of India, AWBI norm, they have recommended 3 months minimum age, but we prefer keeping it as 6 months since organs are difficult to find when they are too young. So we wait for 6 months. As soon as they are 6 months old, we operate or we sterilize every single kitten or puppy, male or female, irrespective, and then send it back to the same reporter or volunteer who had admitted it. So that helps in cutting down the entire life chain of that particular mother. The mother is not going to give birth because you, as a volunteer or animal lover, is getting us sterilized, and we, as an NGO, are helping you with getting the sterilization of the kittens and puppies who are already born. So that is how I have found out, or it actually turns out to be a good way. Entire thing can be controlled in a much better way. So other than sterilizations, like I said, these puppies and kittens are admitted. So we also focus on adoptions. And again, adoption is completely free. Whoever adopts from SAWO, we offer them free sterilization once the pet is 6 months old. So that again helps us in, increasing the number of adoptions. Just to share quick numbers. In 2023, we had 64 adoptions. 2024, we had 14. 24, and this year 2025 we already have 3 kittens and 1 puppy adopted from the center.
Wow, that
So
is.
that gives a, yeah, thanks. So that gives a actual win-win situation. So people are getting support from both. The mother is not going to deliver more babies, and the existing puppies or kittens are also being picked up. So they don't have to take care of them or face issues where they sit under the vehicles and die unfortunately due to an accident or other fights and things like that, or they unfortunately die because of starvation. So all these things are taken care of. We also have a majority of cases or a high number of cases for TVT, which is transmissible cancer, tumorous growth, which spreads through mating of these indies or the strays. What we have seen is 90% of the strays out here, in at least in Pune district, or to be precise, Talegaon area, all have cancerous growth. So just because there is no control on the population, that keeps on going beyond control. So last year we had 35 chemotherapies done at the center. We do get cases of mange, which is basically a skin infection where the entire hair loss happens. There is not even a single hair on the body, and that recovery is again 100% success, but it takes quite a long time. When I say quite a long, it usually goes between 3 to 4 months, or at times it goes 6+ months as well. So those cases are there. Then we have, during dog fights or cat fights, eye gets injured, eye pops out, it is completely damaged. So removal of eye, accident cases where the bone is beyond recovery, it's crushed into powder or pieces which cannot be fixed through a plaster, casting, or a surgical using K-wire or pinning. So in those cases, sadly, we have to take the call of amputation of those particular body parts. Tumor surgeries happen. Then we have canine distemper, which is another dreadful, disease that is frequently observed just because there is lack of vaccination of our pets, community pets. So in Pune district, if I'm not wrong, there are only two organizations who take in the cases for canine distemper as of now. One of them is SAWO. The only difference is we do not, or rather, I do not believe in the concept of charging for daycare for under treatment pets. If it's not a human being or a hospital professional setup wherein you would charge per day, per cot basis, or per room charges rental. So irrespective of the duration of the recovery, we do not charge a single rupee. We just expect bare minimum like 800 rupees, which would cover the basic dressing, anesthesia, painkillers, antibiotics, things like that. If you do it for free, people don't value it, so at least we have to charge something. That's the sad reality. So we do have cases wherein one of our dogs, we named him Simba. He's here from 2.5 years, admitted at Savo with just 500 rupees. He's still there on those 500 rupees only. Another two tick fever cases, admitted 1.5 years back. They are still on the same 1600 that the reporter had paid on his own. Uh, we do get often calls. I would say, when I say often, maybe monthly 10 to 20 calls I get saying that there is a rabies positive dog running around, which when you investigate, dig deep, keep on questioning a lot, turns out okay, the dog was just barking or just chasing your bikes, or just urinating or just messing around, stealing your shoes. That is why people decide to declare them as rabies positive. So government or some organization will come, pick them up, and just take them away. So those cases, those false alarms we do get monthly, on an average 20 calls every month. But till date we have handled three positive rabies cases at the center. And as you are aware, there is no cure globally if it's once you have a rabies positive case. So being a registered NGO, we have all those legal rights to have a human way to address it, which is to euthanize it after getting it verified, or a certificate by the concerned vet. So all those things are there. We do have cages. You have seen to yourself, Anil. The cages are in such a way that I can ensure complete isolation. Even if it's a rabies positive case, still the other pets at the center cannot get infected, since we have ample space in between two cages. So that is how we go about. Uh, very very few, I would say, but again, uh, cruel cases have been handled, which includes chopping off body parts, stomach or thigh flesh, throwing boiling water, or the binding wire, which we have just tying a knot on the neck, causing gruesome injuries to those dogs. Uh, else hitting the dog severely, which damages his spine. So again, paralysis cases are there, tick fever cases are there. So all these things are something which is a routine task for us day in day out.
You know, when I was listening to you about all this, uh, because I myself have been going through all these, most of the issues that you were talking about in terms of, these indies being treated badly and all that. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, my question would be to you: how can the public, as the community, can assist in these animal rescues, and the common mistakes we all humans do? Like, you very rightly
Yeah.
said that there are inhumane treatment, throwing boiling waters, beating them, squashing them. I have also had cases with one of the with two of the baby pups that we uh, sent to your organization at your
Mhm.
center. One of them, actually, because there are totally three sisters, but one of them I've taken home because she was run over by the car, and the other one also who was there was also run by the car. But fortunately enough, we were able to get her all the medical treatment. For 2 days she was on saline and everything, and we were
Mm.
we were able to bring her, help her and not make the case bad. So, my question would be:
Right.
how do you think the public, can assist in all this? As per,
Yeah. Yeah. So
yes.
whenever you're going out, maybe traveling, and you come across a distressed animal, first of all, never ever ignore if you see a distressed animal, because you actually might be their last hope for survival, which many of us ignore and just move on. They just assume, okay, I don't have time, somebody else will look into it, but that might not never or never happen. So whenever there is any such incident, I strongly recommend, instead of just Googling animal rescue or dog NGO, just be more specific. Google animal rescue near me. Near me are the keywords. Why I'm saying that is, daily I get hundreds of calls, and out of it, 99.99% are outside of Talegaon, or which is like 50, 60 kilometers far away from our center. So the help cannot reach there, neither than they reach to our center on time. So it's as simple as animal rescue near me. If you just search it, you will find the nearest location. In Pune, I think there are 100, NGOs, big and small, combined, who can operate. Most of them do have their rescue, emergency services, ambulance, pickup, transportation, catchers, everything. All setups are there. But still, people do not, search it smartly, and then end up in calling 10 different places who, of course, cannot help because of the distance. uh, Other thing, what mistake people usually do is, first of all, everybody should understand, human medicines should never ever be used for a pet. So normally paracetamol, crocin, all these things people start giving without knowing what their side effects are. So even basically, I did forgot to mention that I am from an IT background, so I'm not at all a vet, which many of them have saved my number as Dr. Sarang. So I have to clarify, no, I'm not a doctor. I'm just an IT person running an NGO. So even though I am not a vet, given my last 16, 17 years of this work that I have been doing, which was on a smaller scale earlier, I have seen the side effects, or usually when I work with certain vets out here, I just ask them clearly, what is the symptom? This is what I'm looking across. If this is the medicine you're giving, what it is used for, when can it be used, and how much to give. So those doses also play a very vital role. So usage of human medicines should not be done until and unless specifically you have been advised by a known person, an NGO, a doctor, a LSS, a paravet, whoever it is. Don't do it on your own. Next thing is usage of turmeric. Turmeric is good, but it is not good for pets. So whenever people see a injured pet, first thing they do is, if they see a bleeding, immediately apply turmeric. Turmeric does not help there. It actually makes things much worse. The reason being, definitely it helps to clot your blood. When I say your blood, the pet's blood. But again, when it gets dry, it starts getting more itchy, irritating for the pet. Then they try to scratch it with their nails or paws, or just try to chew it off. And that is the time when the entire flesh is pulled off. And that again results in more infection. So turmeric should never ever be used. If you are willing to maybe spare a couple of minutes, or maybe 30, 40 minutes, an hour or two, wait there, take good pictures of the surroundings as a landmark. If any NGO has to attend your call, we basically, when I receive a call at SAWO, my first instance, or the first check I do is, are you physically present at the site? Is the distressed pet in front of your eyes? What people do is, I saw it here, now I'm on my way to so and so place. You just go and check there. Even if we have to send somebody, the pet has already moved away, somebody has rescued it. So it's complete waste of our time and energy in attending those calls, which turn out to be nothing. So the person needs to be physically be present there. At least when the support staff reaches, they can quickly guide them where the actual injured animal is. A location can help. Google location helps quite a lot. If it's usually people do know the nearest locations or addresses nearby, but when there is an emergency case, your brain does not work properly. So that time you just blindly rely on Google Maps to may help you reach the place much faster. So Google location is very much important. Contact number of the reporter. Now, if you are traveling, let's say, for example, there is a dog injured who is sitting outside a shop, maybe, at least take a note of the shop name, the name of the shop owner, and his contact number, share it with the NGO or whoever you are contacting. So they can directly coordinate and make sure that the animal receives on time help. Uh, if you if you feel that you have that courage to handle the pet, and maybe if the NGO says it will take some time for us to reach, can you just bring them over? If you can, I would rather recommend to bring the injured pet to the center, to the shelter, wherever it is, just because you never know what all things you might need when you actually examine the injured case. There might be excessive bleeding issue. The simple thing is take ice chilled water and just pour it on the open wound. The blood will clot immediately in a minute or two. So that can be a immediate rescue that the individuals can do. It's a huge lifesaver to stop the bleeding. Just pour chilled cold water as much as you can, maybe 1 or 2 bottles, 2 liters. That's great. That will at least help to stop the bleeding, and then the necessary treatment can be resumed. If it's normal, maybe just a minor scratch here and there, when we receive calls, I just let them know this is the medication, this is how you need to do it. If it's an antibiotic tablet, crush it to powder, mix it in food, and let the pet eat. So these things we try to assist, see if it's possible to do a on-site treatment by the reporter himself or herself. If not, we prefer bringing the pet over to the center. Of course, if the space permits us, we have an option to admit the pet based on the cage availability, then we would rather prefer admission of the particular animal in distress.
Sarang, I tell you, this was a very insightful conversation. And, this part where you mentioned about taking care on site, that was absolutely helpful. Sarang, coming to the question that I had, which you mentioned that you do a lot of sterilization, and sterilization is very important in controlling the population. How does that work at your center?
Right. So, like I mentioned, we have sterilization drives every week. We prefer it on Sundays. The pattern or our sterilization program consists of the birth control surgery, which includes rabies vaccination, which is part of the AWBI SOP. It's a mandate. If the rabies vaccination is not done, we get it done by default. Then we provide 5 days medicines, post-op care for 5 days, which is mandatory. If somebody does not want to keep the pet for post-op care, I simply do not do the sterilization. I know what are the reasons behind it, which you also have recently experienced. Pets sometimes, tend to open up their wounds, so that needs a detailed follow-up or line of treatment needs to be implemented immediately, which involves daily dressings or additional medication. Then we do the nail trimming by default, the deworming, which is also now included. Earlier, we did not have deworming included, but later I thought these community pets who is going to do the deworming, which is also one of the key factors for having a healthy life or an appetite. So we started involving deworming as one of the one of the factors for the sterilization. Food, water, everything is included. So Saturday we prefer the admissions, so we can have empty stomach kept for 11 to 12 hours minimum. Sunday we perform the surgeries, and Friday, which is day 5, is the scheduled release. Now, even though it says 5 days post-op is mandatory, at at some cases, at some, we have observed, especially when it's rainy season or winter, where it turns out it takes some extra time for healing the wounds, to dry up the wound. Then the recovery does not happen. The suture that is used, the catgut, it dissolves automatically on day 3. We still continue to keep it for day 5, but sometimes we see the I do not feel the pet is fit to be released. Hence, other keeping that particular pet continued stay at the center, we release all of them. Now, even if there are scenarios where we have to extend a stay for a pet for post-op care, additional post-op, I would say, I do not charge anything. I do not expect anybody to pay because this is an NGO. This is not created for minting money. Life matters more than couple of bucks. So I never ever expect anybody to pay anything to extra, anything to SAWO. I leave that decision over to the reporter or the volunteer themselves. If they wish, they can pay. If not, I'm still happy. For me, life is more precious than some hundreds and thousands of rupees. So we do that. Uh, the way we have planned this, or we plan our sterilization drive, is based on the number of cages we have. So for dogs, we have a single dog in a single cage. One cage is such use that a human being can actually sleep inside. So 8 feet depth, 4 feet is the width, and 5 feet is the height. So one dog is kept in one cage. Currently, we have 19 cages, out of which 15 cages I block it, or I keep reserved for sterilization of dogs. One cage is always kept empty, regardless if there is a case or not, but it is always kept empty for a rabies positive case. If it comes, it has to be admitted, no questions asked. Another cage is kept vacant for a canine distemper case. If it comes, we just go ahead and admit it. And two cages we keep it for any other rescue cases that we have been reported to. As far as cats are concerned, we have close to around 25 to 30 cages, which are smaller in size. We have a variety of range starting from 24-inch, 30-inch, 36-inch to 48 inches. So if one cat has to be operated, I have to have two cages ready. So day one cage is used. Day two, second cage is used. On day two, day one cage is brought in for washing, and every night our operation theater is fumigated with formalin and potassium permanganate. So all these cat cages are washed with a high pressure washer that we have. At night, all these cages are kept in the OT, which is operation theater. Door is closed and the fumigation is started. Next day morning, the OT is opened. So it is completely sanitized. We mop the entire center twice or thrice a day with Dettol, phenyl, hypochlorite, scented phenyl, just to make sure there are no active infections in the center. Uh, the doctor operates it on Sunday. Uh, I believe highly on the transparency portion for any pet that is admitted at the center, be it for sterilization or it's a under treatment pet. As Anil, you have experienced it already.
I think
So
I'm the
every
first.
Friday I create a
I am a
yeah
first-hand experience of all that you've been
yeah
mentioning. I also wanted to take it back to the a notch back where you said, even when a puppy is kept post sterilization, I think I have been one of the
mhm,
beneficiaries because one of my pups is still with
yeah
you, so I can
yeah
understand
true
that. So it's
right.
like, you know, it's like I believe you are a man with your word. What you say, I mean, I understand.
Yeah, I try my best.
No, honestly, with the kind of love and affection that I see and what I've experienced, because this is not somebody just talking in the air, because there are a lot of people who talk, but you've been a man of action from
Yeah.
what I've seen. And I remember the friend of mine who came from Bombay, even, and she was looking at
Mhm.
everything and she was also impressed. And thank you very much for sharing the numbers of the
Thank you.
transport. So we are still trying to figure out
Yeah.
how we can get those babies to your center.
Okay.
Now,